Hello everyone, my name is Bobby Martins with Martins Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty, and today I am here to give you the San Diego forecast for 2020. Now we're going to break this up into two parts. The first section is going to be all about the forecast for 2020. The second section is going to be basically everything that you need to know if you're looking to buy or sell a property in 2020. I'm going to blow the lid off of a lot of the scams and real estate tricks that a lot of realtors like to do out there. So you're definitely going to want to stick around for the second portion of this presentation. So let's go ahead and dive into the numbers and the forecast for 2020. So good news, Zillow has picked us as the #1 hottest market in all of California. Basically the reasons behind it is it really comes down to we have a lot of people moving here. The job market is really strong. Obviously our weather is the best in the country, and so the secret is out on San Diego, and so we have a lot of people on their way to San Diego or have already moved to San Diego. So that is putting even tighter restraints on our inventory levels, which are already extremely low. So that's very good news, and we'll go ahead and dive into more of the reasons here. But so will prices go up or down in 2020? So first and foremost, inventory levels are at really all-time lows. We have less than 5,000 homes on the market, and just to give you an idea, back in 2010, we had about 22,000 homes on the market. So very easy to see how a real estate crash can happen when you have that much inventory on the market. So for those of you who don't know the history over the last 20 years, let me go ahead and kind of break it down for you real quick. 2002 to 2005, we had run-ups of 25 to 30% per year every year. 2006 started to kind of slow down. 2007 really slowed down, and then 2008 the crash happened. 2009, 10 were awful years in real estate here in San Diego. Lots of foreclosures, lots of short sales. Prices went down 30 to 50% depending on what zip code you were in. So it was really tough times. But then 2011 came around and things started to kind of pick up. But we have not had any one year that was a big blow up year of 20%. In fact, I think maybe only one year was over 10%. But everything else has been pretty modest gains. So that's why it's been a very nice steady climb over the last 9 or 10 years or so. And the one thing to also look at is if you look at the fourth quarter of every year, the market dipped a little bit. So, you know, we're not going to see a big crash like everybody, or not everybody, some people think there's a crash coming. They're hoping, but I think it's going to be a very soft landing because first off, 40% of San Diego is owned free and clear. So there is no big inventory event happening, you know, because if the market does turn and you own a property in free and clear, you're just going to keep taking that rental income off of it. That would be the smart move to do. So very little foreclosures and almost no short sales. There's a massive shortage of new home builds. So that's something to really, you know, take a look at. Plus, you know, the job market, I've been here since 1984. I moved here when I was 8 years old, and I have never seen the job market better than it is right now. So I think that will continue. And what's great about it is it's across all industries. It's not just one industry that's doing really well. So if one industry goes away or does worse, you know, we're still going to be okay. So now the next thing is stock market wins. What does that mean for the market? You know, for the real estate market. Really, it comes down to this: when the stock market bursts, you're going to see a lot of people take that money out of the stock market and you're going to put it into real estate. At least that's what happened when the tech bubble burst back around 2000 or so. And so then you saw a huge run up in real estate. I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen, but I would expect that it'll at least maintain real estate values. And here's the big thing: it all comes down to interest rates. If interest rates stay low, we're going to see very good gains for the next few years at least. This year, the prediction is anywhere from 2 to 4% of a gain, which is not huge, but it's not bad. And it's definitely better than paying rent, because we all know what happens when you pay rent. Your rents just go up and up and up, and you're throwing that money into the garbage bag, because you're never going to get that money back. At least with real estate, you're paying down your mortgage. I always recommend a 30-year fix. In fact, we just got a VA buyer, a 30-year fix for in the low 3s. So definitely a really strong time to buy if you're a VA buyer. So next subject is the move up and move down buyer. So this is our main niche. Since 2005, I've had the website Move Up San Diego, and I've really focused on buyers who need to buy and sell at the same time. It can get very tricky, and if you do it the wrong way, it's gonna cost you a fortune, because think about it, you mess up twice, not just once. So it's really important that you're coming from a powerful negotiation position when you're doing a move up and move down. And I've done it so many times, I've got it mastered, and we always put you in the most powerful position from a negotiation. And so we'll let you know exactly what we recommend, and then we'll figure out the best solution for you. There's 7 different ways to move up and move down. So it just depends on your situation. There's also a bridge loan option that a lot of people like to do, so that way they can buy first. We have a great lender that we work with that does bridge loans, and like I said, we've really mastered this whole process. A lot of times what we like to do is have you sell your home, and then that way you have the cash, you know exactly what you're getting from your home, and then you rent back your own home for up to 60 days from the new buyer. And so with a 45-day escrow and a 60-day rent back, that gives you almost 1/3 of a year to find that next property to move into. And I'll tell you right now, we always find you a great property. You're never gonna have to go and rent. It's very, very rare that someone has to go rent because they couldn't find a property to buy. So just wanted to point that out. So I believe the FHA buyer and the VA buyer, there's so much opportunity for those types of buyers out there right now, especially because most of those people are renting. And if you're gonna be in San Diego for more than 3 years, you should not be throwing away your rent money. I mean, $3 grand a month, that's $36,000 a year over 3 years. That's a lot of money, $108,000 just gone. Imagine if you could put that towards your equity or towards your loan and build equity, and then if the market's going up, you're making more and more money. So it really makes sense to buy, especially for an FHA buyer, VA buyer. We love working with the military, and it is an underserviced market. There's not a lot of agents want to work with VA because it is tougher to get an accepted offer. But with my team, we have a very good system of presenting your offer, and we've worked with almost every big agent in San Diego. They know that we're easy to work with because we do our job, we stay on time, and we make sure we close on time, eliminating all the frustrations of a normal closing. So that's pretty much it for the forecast. I do believe that it's going to be a great market this year, even though it's an election year. But I will tell you this: the first half of the year, if you're thinking about selling, definitely try and do it in the first half of the year. Best time to list your house is March 1st, and then that way you're sold by June 1st. And guess what happens in June? It starts to slow down. It always starts to slow down. It's a very common cycle. And so therefore you can then get a good deal on the next house during the summer when it's a little slower. But definitely don't wait until later in the year, because we do have an election happening, and typically people stay on the sidelines during the election. But if rates are really low, don't expect that, because that's really what's driving our market, is the low rates. All right, so let's get into the second part of this presentation. And some realtors are probably not going to be very happy with what I'm going to share with you right now, because it's part of their business model to basically create leads, and they're doing it through ways that they shouldn't be doing. They're breaking their fiduciary duty to you. They're doing kind of bait and switch tactics, And this is something that real estate coaches have trained real estate agents across the country for years and years and years. So one thing that's very important to know, you always want to work with a realtor. The reason why a realtor is better than a real estate agent is it's a higher standard of ethics and morals, in my opinion. So fiduciary duty. When a real estate agent or broker acts in an agency capacity for a buyer or seller client in a transaction, the agent or broker functions under certain legally mandated duties called fiduciary duties, basically acting in your best interest. And so now I'm going to say this, there's a lot of great agents out there, a lot of great realtors. There's always bad apples in every industry. And so just like anything else, we have a few bad apples and they make it hard on the rest of us. So I want to show you, this is a Facebook ad and this is a text message. Since 2008, I've been getting messages like this, and it irks me every time, because basically what this says is that SD real estate agents, triple end your next pocket listing, reach out to me on your next off-market fixer. This one says basically the same thing. Do you know of any off-market deals or pocket listings? Not yet on the MLS. You can triple end the listing. So that what that means is I bring a listing to the investor buys it, so that's 2 commissions. Then the investor says, hey, you're gonna get this listing now that I fixed it up and we put it back on the market, and wow, I'm gonna make an extra $150,000 as the investor, and then the agent's making 3 sales instead of 1. I watched a lot of people play that game during the short sale boom back in 2009 through 2011. And it was really disgusting to see it. I get calls all the time. Bobby, I want to buy your listing. What do I need to do to buy your listings? And I'd always say the same thing. Give us a fair market value offer. And they'd always laugh and they'd say, well, how am I supposed to make a profit? And I'd always say, well, I'm not going to put my seller in a position to get foreclosed on just because you want to make a profit. If you want to make an offer, it's got to be fair market value, because I know I can sell it to as a fair market value listing to another buyer. And so, unfortunately, though, these types of tactics are on the rise, and it's been booming over the last 4 or 5 years. It seems like a lot of real estate agents have put on their investor cap and they're just working as an investor, or they are working with an investor to basically sell a lot more real estate. Again, you got to ask yourself, is that in your best interest or in their best interest? And it's always in their best interest. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some properties that should not make it to the MLS, that are maybe fire damage, or maybe you got a hoarder situation where you can't even walk through a property. But I'll tell you, most properties, and just about every single listing I've ever taken, except for one, which was a fire property, have all gone to the MLS, have all used the MLS to get the homeowner top dollar. So if an agent is walking in and they're immediately saying, I have an investor or I have a buyer, you should probably just say, thank you for stopping by, and not work with that agent. It's that simple. Because when I work with you, I'm going to always ask you these questions, or this question. Are you looking for a fast sale, or are you looking for top dollar? And I always want it to be the latter, because your neighbors are counting on you to sell your home at top dollar so that it keeps their values up. It's not really fair to sell 100,000 less and ruin the comps for everybody else. So that's a big reason why I like to make sure that we're selling at top dollar. And of course, the other reason is we want to make sure that you get top dollar, so that way we're getting referrals from you. That's how this business should work. Repeat and referral has been the life source of my business since getting into the business, because I've been in customer service for 30 years. I've always put the client first, and my goal is to make every single client a raving fan. All right, so next one. Oops, there we go. There we go. Okay, so these are 3 different ads on Facebook. These are all sponsored ads, and this is an article about banning pocket listings. Pocket listings have really become a popular thing, off-market properties. Sometimes you hear coming soon. You know, it's not really, again, it's not in your best interest to not use the MLS. And if you're hiring a real estate agent and you're still paying commissions, why do it off market? Now I get sometimes you don't want to have people come through your house. You don't want showings to go on for 6 weeks and things like that. However, we can get your home sold in one weekend if we price it right and prepare it right. And we have a concierge service with our team that will help get the home all ready for the market, and will make the whole process very, very simple. Look at this one here. Sold for $20,000 over asking before this home hit the market. Ask us how to get your home sold fast and top dollar. Click here, send a message. You know what that means? That means they underpriced the house. It's very easy to do that, obviously. You can, put it out there, you do some ads on Facebook for the listing, and throw it on some of the real estate sites like Zillow that allow a coming soon listing. You send out an email to your database saying, hey, I got this great listing, it's undervalued, and then next thing you know, you got some multiple offers. How do they know that they left or didn't leave money on the table? They don't know. And so you just have to ask yourself, is it in my best interest? If someone's coming in with a gimmick, then you really, really need to take a long, hard look at it. Now, this whole way of selling homes has been growing over the last 3 or 4 years because of the inventory crisis. We just don't have enough homes on the market. So some agents are opting to try and double end every listing instead of doing what's right for the client, which is always the MLS. And that's why the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, have banned pocket listings. So if you still see agents out there that are advertising pocket listings, then or even coming soons, then you should really take a long, hard look at that agent and say, you know what, that's not the kind of agent I want to work with. I want an agent who's going to put my needs in front of their needs. When we take a listing, we put it on the market on a Monday with no showings till Saturday at the open house. We do open houses Saturday and Sunday. We're driving all the traffic to that weekend, and then we usually have multiple offers Monday, Tuesday. And again, if it's priced right, if you're trying for a higher price, it may take 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and that's okay. If you want to test the market, then test the market, and but have a strategy to do so. So again, NAR has banned pocket listings, so just be aware of that. And the reason why they had to do this is really because of social media sites, agents using Facebook and other sites to try and sell listings on their own instead of putting it on the MLS. So next one here, let's go ahead and talk about the iBuyer program. iBuyer is basically lipstick on a pig. It is a fancy investor using apps and websites, and they're basically buying your home for cash. They're letting you do it on your terms and saying, we'll close when you want to close, and then basically making you an offer without commission, but they use transaction fees. And the transaction fees are 7 to 9%. Our company has a program called Express Offers that we can do basically the same thing. Our system's a little different, where we're actually having multiple investors compete for the listing, but I don't want any of my clients using this because it's 70 to 80 cents on the dollar for the property. And so, these guys are in it to make a profit, and that profit is at your expense. Now, there might be some convenience in there, and we'll talk about that in a second, but when you see ads like this where basically we can buy your house for cash, definitely stay away from stuff like this, $15,000 cash advance before closing. So think about it. They are preying on people that need the cash. Because if you're a homeowner and you had cash in the bank, why would you do that? You wouldn't. You wouldn't need it. So what they're doing is they're preying on individuals that need cash. And to me, that's just not right. I'd rather help you by giving you a short-term loan and avoid you being in that situation. There's a lot of options when you work with our team. We can definitely help figure out the best option for you. And so don't get suckered with these types of programs. You know, look at this one. Think about selling your house, but don't want to deal with repairs or realtor fees. All they're doing is replacing those realtor fees with transaction fees of 7 to 9%, and then they charge you for the repairs within the deal. Again, not in your best interest, and really just, you know, it's a scam. And the reason why it's a scam is over 90% of people calling on these properties are not transacting with these people. They get the offer and they say, no way am I selling my house for that price. And so then what do you think the other realtor or the realtor says? They say, well, sir, I can sell your house too. I'm a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent for 15 years. So let me do it the traditional way. So what this program is all about, it's all about creating you as a lead. Data has become the most important thing in real estate. Everybody wants your data. And so as a consumer, protect your data. Don't give it to these big giant websites, because then you're gonna get junk mail like you would not believe, because now you're on everybody's lists because they sell the data to other companies. So work with someone in the local market who's gonna be able to help you. And if you go to my website, I don't sell your data to anybody. It stays with us and nobody else finds out about you buying or selling a home. So this is some pros and cons of the iBuyer program. And don't get me wrong, there are some certain situations where it may make sense to do an iBuyer, but you got to be comfortable with leaving anywhere from 10 to 20% on the table. The pros are you can sell your house in the time frame that you want. No preparation to sell your home. There's no showings other than the showings to the iBuyer agents. No cost to prepare your home for sale. And if you find a home that you want to buy, you can buy it pretty quickly, and you don't have to, you know, because usually the big hurdle is you got to sell your house in order to buy the next one. So in those situations, sometimes it can be advantageous, but again, we can still do that for you in a weekend if you give us the opportunity. So the only thing that really iBuyer does for you, it's speed and certainty, but it comes at a very hefty cost. And so here are some of the cons. You net a lot less money on each closing. I've been studying this for a while, and I've been tracking these things. I've been getting iBuyer offers on my listings so I can compare, and it's anywhere from 10 to 20% less. So if you're okay with that, then iBuyer might be a good option, but you shouldn't be okay with it in my opinion. Next reason, your neighbors aren't going to be happy because you have a low comp. Some companies are charging huge transaction fees of 7 to 9%. You know, real estate commissions have been going down recently, and so you know, to me, it doesn't make sense when you can. You know, 6% is not the norm. It's you know, most agents are not charging that anymore. So, but yet a lot of these iBuyer programs will say save 6% commission. But then they don't tell you there's a 7 or 9% transaction fee in their advertising. So again, it's all about your data. It's all about the lead. It's all about you calling that agent to basically you know, become a lead. Some companies charge for the repairs as well. That to me is just like, wow, you know, so you're gonna have to pay a transaction fee and you're paying for the repairs? That just doesn't make any sense. So that's kind of the iBuyer program. There's Open Door, there's Zillow doing this. There's a boatload of other ones that have popped up online. A lot of agents are using these ads to generate leads. So just be wary of it. Understand that the iBuyer program may not be in your best interest if you're looking to make top dollar when you sell your property. All right, so real estate scams or BS to stay away from. This is where I'm probably gonna, you know, make a few realtors mad, but you know what? I don't care, because my job is to be a consumer advocate. I've been that way ever since I got into real estate back in 2002. I've always cared about you, the client, not the realtors, and not myself, you know, because I believe if I take care of you, then I make way more money because of the referrals and the repeat business. So the first one is the guaranteed offer or the guaranteed sale. So you'll see an ad that will say something like, your home sold in 30 days or less at your price. That's the key term there, right? At your price, or we'll sell it for free. That's a very common one. So think about that for a second. You walk in or a realtor walks in and says, I think your house is worth 900, but then you say, no, I think it's worth 950. They will not, your price isn't the 950. So they're not going to take your listing and then sell it for free in that situation. Their job at that point is to get you down on the price. And then they say, oh, okay, so you agree at this price. So if I can't sell it at this price, then it's free. But that price is always going to be much, much lower than market value. So what do you think that they're doing this for? It's about getting you to call. So everything is about getting you to call. So just understand that. 30-day guarantee that your home sells at your price. We just talked about that. The guaranteed offer also, they're using the iBuyer program for that. So, again, my company, I can guarantee you an offer on any single property that you want. But you're not going to see me use that in my advertisement because, again, it's a scam. It's just getting you to call. So don't do it. Don't fall for it. List your home for 1%. This is more obsolete than ever, and this is why. Because in the past, an agent could say, hey, I'll sell your house for 1%. They'd come over and then they would say, okay, you're not gonna get the MLS. I'm gonna put it on my website. I might do a little bit of advertising, maybe some postcards, but I'm gonna try and find the buyer, and if I find the buyer, it's 1%. But they will always talk you out of that. They'll always say, well, you know what? You really should put it in the MLS because the MLS does yield a higher sales price every single time. So, but to do that, we have to pay a buyer's agent commission of 2.5%. So now your bait and switch just happened. You went from 1 to 3.5% just like that. And so there's the rub. And that's where, to me, all of this stuff, as a consumer, why would you want to start a relationship with a business professional based off of a lie or based off bait and switch? These kinds of scams, it's all about the lead, okay? Real estate coaches across North America have been teaching these programs for years, okay? So it's not in your best interest. Selling home without the MLS, pocket listings. We already kind of talked about that. You shouldn't see any more of that from any realtors. Now, real estate agents are not bound by the same code, so you might see some real estate agents who basically pass the test and they don't have a fiduciary duty to you, so that's where it becomes difficult. How can you trust them? How do you know that they're gonna look out for your best interest? So, buy my listing and I will buy your home. That's a great one. That one's been going on for a couple decades. And I could tell you that 99% of the people that inquire about something like that, they look at the offer and they say, heck no, I'm not gonna take an offer like that. Then the realtor turns around and says, well, great, I can list it and have it on the market by Monday. And so what do? That's what they end up doing. So again, it's about the lead. It's not about the content or the actual helping of the customer. So last one here is agents who promise to find you off-market listings. That should be dead now. There should not be any off-market listings. If there are, it should be very, very few. But this is just a hook. They are fishing and they're trying to be different. They're trying to give you something different that would basically make you want to work with them. And it's like a needle in a haystack, trying to find an off-market listing that actually matches up to exactly what you're looking for. It's not easy. My team, we've door knocked, we've done all kinds of things to find off-market listings, and every now and then you might get lucky, but this should not be the cornerstone of someone's marketing when they're trying to pick up buyers, in my opinion. Most of the properties that you're gonna look at are gonna be on the MLS, And so just be careful with that. What is a lead aggregator? It's another word for middlemen, okay? These 3 sites, and there's about another 150 of them just like it, they put our information into their site, especially the agents that do a lot of business, and then they do a lot of keyword stuff, and they make sure that if you were to Google Bobby Martins, I'm gonna come up on a lot of these sites. And so their hopes is you contact me through these sites. You wanna know why? Because I have to pay anywhere from a 25 to 35% referral fee for that connection. So if I'm an agent and I walk into your house and I came from this, do you think you're gonna get a better deal in commission, or are you gonna pay a higher commission rate? You're gonna pay a higher commission rate. It's just a fact. Every agent across America is gonna wanna charge you a little higher fee than they normally charge because they have to pay this. Our marketing and all that stuff still has to get done. So this is not in your best interest. So here's what I would recommend. Use these sites to do your research, but then Google the agent's name. And most agents that have been in the business a while, have been doing this a long time, they all have a website. On that website is gonna be my cell phone number. You can call me directly. And if you tell me that, hey, I researched you on these sites, but I wanted to call you directly, I'm gonna give you a better deal on the commission. I'm gonna put that savings in your pocket, okay? So that's my best recommendation that you can do to find the agent. Use some of these sites to research. Now, the other thing that you wanna be careful with too with this is these guys are all not based in San Diego. So your money is going somewhere else, and it's helping other cities in America. And if you're like me, I wanna help my local businesses. I want my local businesses and friends around me to thrive. And so I'm always doing anything and everything I can to help people around here. So I don't want my money going somewhere else. I want it to stay here in San Diego. And what do you think I do with my money here? I'm giving my money to charities, local schools. I'm making sure that the money is being used correctly and used to help my local economy thrive in San Diego. So that's a really big deal in my opinion. And again, if you're like me, you want to help local businesses because it's just the right thing to do, okay? So that is it. A lot of information. I hope you found this to be very helpful. This last slide here, these are some of the awards that we've won over the years. I've been doing this since 2002. We're in the top 1% of agents in the country. And I love this business. I've put every ounce of effort into learning everything I can. I've spent a lot of money on learning the business, going to schools, getting every designation you can have. I'm also a broker, and this is my full-time career, and it's something that I'll do until the day I die. I am a negotiation expert. I can put together deals that other agents cannot put together, and we get accepted offers on our buyer sides a much higher rate than anybody else out there, and it's really because of our technique of how we present offers. If you're spending a lot of time looking for a property and then you finally find that property and then you don't get it, that feels terrible. And so for me, I really put a lot of effort into the process of getting you that home. And if you're a seller, we put a lot of effort into the front end of the transaction, making sure everything gets done right before we get on the market, your disclosures, everything. So that way, we're ready to go when an offer comes in and we can get it closed quickly and efficiently. So, we also, I want to make it clear, we do not charge 6% for our listings. Okay, I'm not the cheapest guy out there, but we're certainly not the most expensive guy out there. But the value that you get with our team is second to none. There's a lot of agents out there that will do it for next to nothing, but that's really because in the absence of value, all they can do is lower their commission. So, but then you have to ask yourself, how is that in your best interest? It might cost you a little bit more to work with me over, say, a Redfin agent or one of these discount brokerages, but the sales price is always higher, and I can guarantee you that. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, we love this business and we want to just help as many families as possible, and you know, first-time home buyers, VA buyers. So if you would like to talk to us, you can reach me directly on my cell, 858-204-7259. Again, 858-204-7259. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.